Everyone off kind of what I've been working on for this brand new audience choose your own adventure opera that we're writing that takes place in our story world of the Lava Kingdoms. All of our stories are interconnected in one way or another. I'd like to think of them as chapters of a choose your own adventure that all lead into each other. It's pretty exciting. This little baby, though, has made things difficult because right now it's snowing in my Animal Crossing game. And so Baby Pickle has made it her prerogative to try to get every single snowflake that's falling on screen. So I'm trying to keep her in my lap. If you see me or hear me scream out, it's because she's either biting me. I think she's like teething. She's like 3 months old right now. Or she has wandered into a place where there's no coming back from. So this is exciting. I started playing Animal Crossing when the game came out back at the beginning of the pandemic. And my island is called Birdbones. I love the bird villagers in Animal Crossing. It's super exciting to be able to discover all of these little, fun, details about the birds. There's all this Animal Crossing weird lore about the characters. And as time progressed, and I've been working on our Lava Kingdom shows, it kind of became a great thing that my Animal Crossing island and villagers are the basis of the characters for this bird themed murder mystery. All of my friends, all of my students at my school that I play Animal Crossing with, I play my Animal Crossing with my students at school every Friday. And they love to ask me questions. Hey, what's Bill the Duck doing? What's Apollo the Eagle doing? And so, come up with these different stories. These stories started to become the foundation for this Hoot-Done-It. I blame Alexei for the title of being a Hoot-Done-It. But Birdbones is the story about the kind of the extinction of the bird people in our story world. If you play D&D, there's a whole number of different bird races. The Arakakra, I'm pronouncing that so wrong, are kind of the perfect example. It's a race of characters that are these wonderful bird warriors. In our world, all the birds are extinct. We've mentioned this a few different times. We mentioned it in O Succulent when we performed at Cafe Nordo that birds are just extinct. The existence of Dr. Hoot the Cosmic Owl rescuing our heroes from the prison of sulfuric salt was a huge surprise because all birds are supposed to be extinct. In Vampires of the Neverwood, we mentioned the fact that our birds in our story world are extinct. So I think it's good a time as any to kind of show you what's up. So at the entrance of our little bird kingdom, our kingdom takes place in the desert. The Southern Giraffa Desert is the setting for our story, where all of these birds live in a giant palace. So I had to build a palace. Luckily, the new Animal Crossing has so many different opportunities for building and customizing things, including the inside of villagers' houses. So this is one of my new villagers. This is Quinn. And I made the interior of her house kind of reflecting the kitchen of the castle. I'm building a castle, so every single room is like castle-y. Quinn's awesome. Quinn represents one of our characters who is a soothsayer. I'm not going to give away too much about who that character is, but we have one of our bird characters can see the future, which makes a murder mystery very, very interesting with someone who can see the future. But our castle is full of really exciting characters and places and weird themes. It is just surrounded by palm trees because it takes place in a desert. So I had to figure out, well, how do I build a desert in Animal Crossing that still looks like a populated town? This is my favorite. If you saw O Succulent with Cafe Nordo, this is Dinkle Dave's shield shop. I got to build this. This is so cool. This has all of the key Legend of Zelda items that you would picture in a classic shop. We have our 3 magical shields on the top. Each one has a different power. And when our protagonist character, Archie McDinklethorn, got one of these shields chosen by the audience, it influenced the entire journey they went on. Drum Village, which is this little dwarven desert village outside of the prison of sulfuric salt used to be the drum village that was outside the palace of sulfuric salt. Our palace is the home of all of our magical items in our story world. So, if you can see in the screen here, the birds prize this particular possession. This is the one stone, right? The one stone is this magical stone that unites all of the bird people together. This is one of the reasons that all of these like different breeds of birds have been able to work together and kind of cohabitate as a unit, because when they're in the presence of this particular stone, the one stone, everyone is one. It is the ultimate signal of peace. All of our other key items from our adventures are also owned by the birds. We have the Ring of Compulsive Lying. That made a huge appearance in our Vampires of the Neverwood story. We have the Idiot Arby's Bag of Transformation. That was a secret little drop that we got to include in the Pessimism storyline of Vampires that has a much bigger role elsewhere. There's the Hourglass, the sacred hourglass of the desert sands. Whenever it's flipped, you return back to the first time you stepped into the desert. This is a primary item that we used in our first adventure. And then we have the Book of Everything. The Book of Everything is a book that the bird people have scribed over and over again. The pigeon folk live in these high cliffs where that's all they do is they just write these books over and over and over again to be able to share the birds' information with the rest of the world. It's been super cool getting to kind of figure out and design what our bird palace looks like on the edge of this desert. It's absolutely bonanza beautiful. I love skeletons. I love bones. I love bird bones. What's great is that our story world reaches really far. You can see off in the distance the palace that belongs to Juliet the Peacock. She is one of the last royals of the birds. Over time, the birds have been over-hunted, which has resulted in being very few of them left. And in our story, which is a choose-your-own-adventure opera, our characters are going to have to figure out who are going to be the best representatives to go forward in front of the King of the Humans to plead their case and say, please stop killing us, though. There's lots of little vistas into different parts of the desert. This is one of my favorites. Again, this is a section from O Succulent, which is the Query Quarry, where these rock monsters ask you mineral-based questions. I loved earth science in high school. I always wanted to be a meteorologist. It was like, that was the dream. The dream was not to become this hybrid theater drag performer. It was to either be a meteorologist or a country singer or both. So I have a lot of love for geology and for earth sciences, and we have our little quarry here where there's questions that they ask you about different kinds of minerals. We've got a lot of like fun little areas. This is a full town. This town has a lot of different personalities and characters. I'm trying to see if anyone's home. Oh no. It's great. All of these little houses have been designed to really enhance the feeling that this town lives in this desert. All right, I'm going to bring you to the palace. Because, like, if you're going to be in this town, you better go to the palace. All right. Our bird characters, there's 9 of them. I'm working with Alexei Safris, my writing partner, who is effing fantastic, to kind of build out our roster of our 9 characters to like an obscene number of different birds for a board game that goes along with the show. After you watch the show and you learn the rules of the game from the show, you get to play the show. It's kind of cool. This is my rock garden. This is just a flex. This is just an Animal Crossing flex if you know Animal Crossing. Having like a little rock garden is just like a whole like, oh, I did that. But past the rock garden, you go into our garden on the outside of the Palace of Sulfuric Salt, the home of Juliet the Peacock. I like making really beautiful vistas And I love playing with depth. This is Cube. He's my favorite penguin. He's never leaving. Ever. I can't wait to show you. This is just so cute. So when you enter the palace, they're getting ready for this huge party where all the birds are going to be coming and joining. I'm going to show you the houses that are open that have some of my villagers inside of them, and tell you a little bit about the characters that they've kind of inspired in our opera, which is, the whole process is just bonkers and creativity unhinged. So this is the bathroom of our castle. This is actually a primary setting. I'm not going to give anything away, but the bathroom is very, very important. And in here, this is Sterling. Sterling, oh, he's wearing a shirt that says Bird Bud. Sterling is the inspiration for Coach Carreras, the Seahawk, who's the coach of the Seahawks in our story world. This bathroom gets a lot of action, not in like a weird way, but like there's a lot of things that happen in our little bathroom space. So it was important to reflect that in the actual build of our story world here. I come from a set design background, so I approach this whole thing as set design. I like the idea that in our play, they're doing huge, expensive renovations of the whole castle. And so you can see here, they're painting the castle to be this like obnoxious peacock pattern and peacock coloring over this like very traditional stonework. And so as you progress into the castle, you start to see more and more of this peacock coloring. Is she home? So this is Julia the Peacock, who we've based Juliet, intellectual property, Juliet the Peacock in our story. And this is her lovely little home. I got to design this. I love the design aspects of being able to design the villagers' homes because they just get so unique. And like, look at this bunting. This bunting, though. Chandeliers and lace and elegant furniture. I made it rain also. There's kind of a real sad motif in the play about characters kind of realizing this is the end. Like, this is the end of the bird people. It's a community that is eating itself. Sound familiar? It's a community that's eating itself and trying to figure out, well, how do we protect ourselves by killing each other off? So up on the rooftop of the castle is this giant dining room. I am like really proud of this particular build. It has little sitting areas for people to have kind of their own little private like cabanas. When I was in Mexico, having your own cabana was like it. If you had your own cabana, everyone was hanging out with you. Absolutely gorgeous. And I made a stage. There's a huge floor show that happens within our play. There's performances of some of the most like amazing kind of these bird people bringing burlesque and live singing and dance and instrumentalists. And so I needed to build a stage. And so I created a custom pattern that could be split at a really sharp angle so that I could share our dining room space with this really cool little stage. Now, the backstage area for in our play is this lounge. This is where they get ready for the performances. And so obviously it had to be super sparkly, like beyond. This is literally what I think that this play looks like. Everything is just sparkling and is this feeling of like abundance. All of the furniture, all of the food, everything is in this huge degree of excess. It's kind of the downfall of the bird people. It's like selling everything, using all of their materials, and then you end up just having nothing left over because you always have to posture and show how great you are by the things you have. This is a basketball court. This is just because, like, you know, if there's a castle, it's kind of like if you're familiar with the Disney 90s Pinnacle movie Blank Check, Like, you can do whatever you want if you're super wealthy. And I think that if I was super wealthy, I would definitely have a basketball court. I don't play basketball. I just want to have the option. And I want to be able to point and say, hey, look, I've got a basketball court in my house. It's pretty swell. I don't want to give too much away, so I'm not going to show you everything. This island, this Animal Crossing island. If you play Animal Crossing, the code for this island is going to be made available with the play, so that you can kind of like play through the settings. There's some mysteries that you can solve within the narrative of the show if you visit the island. It's like puzzles on puzzles, and it all feeds into each other. It's just a delight. This is my rainbow room. I think that every like self-respecting queer needs to have their own rainbow room in their house. In my house, my rainbow room happens to be this room where I am right now. You can't see because it's a green screen and such, but I have some of the most fantastic and alarming props and like colorful things in this room. It's pretty magical. Let me show you Bluebird Village. Bluebird Village, you say? Yes, I do say. Bluebird Village. I've been playing a lot with depth and these amazing views that you can make in this game because of the way that the world is curved. If you played Animal Crossing, there's like a horizon line which is always coming towards you whenever you're walking north. So you see things kind of disappear over the horizon line. Let me show you. What does that mean? Well, let me show you. So, if you cross here, you get to this bridge that overlooks Bluebird Village. It's a little blue village. It's all tiny little houses. Off in the distance is this giant Godzilla who's coming towards this temple. And let me see if I can show you. So, if you look at the little sign I made, enhance. Bluebird Village has this little sign that reflects the view from the bridge off in the distance. I'm pretty proud of this. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is just a little moment, but like I think that like playwriting, like any kind of art that you do, it's all about lots of little moments that feed into each other. Now this palace has this expansive garden. It has all of these like little interconnected areas. I really wanted to make this kind of feeling of like cluttercore, like part of the narrative world of our play. So, oh God, I'm just really proud of this. So, off in the distance, if you go through up here, there's this castle. There's this giant sandcastle out in the middle of the desert. If you notice, up on top of that sandcastle, there's an actual player house. I have a secret way hidden somewhere on this desert island, this desert-themed bird island, is a secret way to get into that sandcastle, and it's some of the most amazing rooms that I've gotten to design in Animal Crossing. It's, as a set designer, it's been really, really cool, like thinking about pivoting the game from just, oh, this looks cool, to saying, oh, what does the setting for our play look like? We have lots of dead trees. It's currently winter, which is not the case when we do the final recording for this for our boxes. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this whimsy. Look at this. I love it. The whole island is set to be autumn. Everything has that kind of like sepia tone color palette. Lots of oranges. The ground is like red. All of the trees have this like brilliant reds and oranges and yellows. And there's no snow. Right now I have to have it be snow so that I have this area right here, which is a big portion of our desert, is actually right now just a snow field, so that I can roll snowballs to make snowmen, so I can get all of the furniture pieces that I need to design an ice cave. In the desert, yes, there's an ice cave. It's where they get their ice. So there's lots of really cool narrative story moments. This is a little fish dock that leads up to this little tiny shack house. I really tried to make it feel even more populated with more buildings because it's a city. This is Drum Village. And the Palace of Sulfuric Salt lives right on the outskirts of Drum Village. I love all of these little vistas and views. There's different places to visit. Houses on the beach. Rave. You can take the boy out of the club, but you can't take the club out of the gender blind fool who's sitting in front of you. Oh my gosh. Okay. There's a whole bunch of recipes I haven't gotten yet that I just need to... All right. I will report in that my kitten is sitting in my lap right now. She has not moved. She's not biting me. And she's not biting any of the cords connecting all of my tech here. So it's a big success. Ba-bam! Yeah. No, my pathing. It is one of the things about playing a game that you are simultaneously designing while playing. Who is she? Frozen floor tiles. Okay. I'll take it. I love it. I love learning new things. Let me replace this real quick. And I'll show you my birdhouse. Yes, of course it's a birdhouse. A birdhouse, you say? Well, yes. Let me show you my birdhouse. So my birdhouse is, if you played Animal Crossing as aggressively as I have over the pandemic, my birdhouse is a dedicated bed and breakfast to all of the bird NPCs that I could fit in it. It's kind of like the big gathering spot for all of the different bird characters. I love birds. Is this new information? This is my B&B. There's Apollo and Amelia. They were married on my island. We had a wedding. Pandemic was weird. But let me show you some of the rooms. So this is my Blathers room. So Blathers the owl, he runs the museum. So I tried to create a room that was just as classy as he was. If you notice, let me just show you. Let me just flex this for a second. Okay. So if you notice his shirt and his tie, kind of the front of his being, I found this flooring that matches it perfectly. Like, that patterning is really, really great. I'm visiting during the daytime. All of my rooms are dark, except for the lighting instruments that the game gives you to really give some really interesting lighting effects. Oh my god, yes. This is my favorite. This is I want a room that looks like this in real life. This is my Dodo Airlines room. The color palette is reflective of the blues and yellows of the Dodo Airlines in-game. I have a wall with all their merch. Because obviously, like, sell the merch. Get the merch up there. There's a lot of weird items. Like, they'll give you a hat or sunglasses or slippers. And I was like, well, where do I put all this stuff? I'm like, oh, I know. I just put it in its own little dedicated room for all my bird stuff. It's pretty great. I think that having a theme in a game like this, like I used to play The Sims a lot. I really love the building nature of these games. Being able to design with kind of predefined objects and figuring out different ways to manipulate those objects to tell stories. This is my Gulliver room. Gulliver in game is a character who gets lost all the time. So having a place where he's able to like actually call home was kind of important to me in my little heart. It's really cool getting to bring all of this stuff into our story world for the Lava Kingdom. All right. I'm going to show you upstairs. I'm going to show you downstairs. Downstairs is really scary. If you visited my Animal Crossing island, you know why it's scary. It's terrifying. This is my room for Franklin the turkey. So in our play, Governor TURDUCKEN, which is a turkey, and a chicken and a duck. Governor Turducken is a primary character. I think he probably looks a lot like this turkey. This cat loves to give hugs. She just loves it. She's so sweet. Look how sweet she is. Sweet baby Pickle. Baby Miss Pickle. All right. I'm going to show you my creepy room. And then I'll say adieu. It's been a real treat getting to work on my Animal Crossing island. I've worked on this over the last month. In our writing sessions, we need to have a little bit more of awareness of the spatial relationship between different places. This is my creepy bird room. I have collected all of the bird posters of all of the bird villagers in Animal Crossing in order to put them in my creepy, creepy bird room. I love them. I am missing two. They just released 2 new bird villagers. There's a weird penguin, and then the Quinn, who is a falcon, who's on my island right now. So I just have to bring her over to the photo studio and take some pictures. But it's really cool. I think that I've always had this like fascination and love for birds in this particular game franchise. I went back to my Pocket Camp game, and it was all birds. It was almost the entire exact same roster of villagers on my island in this game. Because I just think that there's something miraculous and beautiful about birds. Friends, thank you so much for joining me as I show you kind of what I've been working on. This is all part of this musical that we're writing. Audience Choose Your Own Adventure, bird opera. It's called Birdbones. We are in process right now. We are writing music. We are figuring out how audience members get to interact with the narrative of the story. And it will unfold differently every single time someone plays it. It's really super exciting. Friends, you're great. You're awesome. It's so good to see you. And I can't wait to see you again. Bye, friends.